This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. And medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. The powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be?
Robin Williams there, Dead Poet Society, inspiring the kids, but also I feel like, I don't know if you've ever met a manager or at work and you know they've seen that movie because they treat you like you're part of that clan in Dead Poet Society. I had an American manager in an old job, and I just knew he'd watched that film. That "Oh Captain, My Captain."
Did he make you stand up on a desk?
He didn't, no, but he almost did.
Did he almost?
I think that film ruined a lot of middle managers.
Oh, they thought they were going to seize the day, carpe diem their way to fucking upper management from middle management.
I'm here to unlock what is within you.
Oh my god! My missus
trying to sell insurance. Like,
leave me alone. My missus rewatching The Office for the fourth time. She started today, and that's all.
American Office,
the American US,
okay,
the US Office, yeah, and that middle manager kind of trying to rally the troops in the most ridiculous way. It's just.
But what will your verse be, Leon?
To be honest,
we'll find out.
Like, it is. What a speech! Like, it is incredible. Like,
brilliant.
There's a reason why it resonated with so many middle managers there.
Yeah, that's true.
But for people who weren't just in middle management, maybe lower to upper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, car insurance, home insurance, internet,
selling flow gas, TV license men.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. How you getting on?
Not too bad. I've been busy. Yeah. I went to the exotic shores of Scotland for a wedding, and it was lovely. First time renting a car.
First time renting a car. Do you feel like you were ripped off? Like most, is the rite of passage thinking that you've been robbed?
Well, I got shafted, like I think most people do, but I got less shafted than I thought. So usually, like certain countries, like car rental is fucking ludicrous. It's like £100 a day, like at least.
At the end, they give you a little it's more now.
That's just like general, like off the bat, like from the low budget travel, £100 a day, and you also have to pay the fuel back, so you have to like refill the car up. So you're talking £200 before you even get off the fucking plane. But the way they get you have to have a credit card to pay the excess if you crash the car. €1,500 excess, right? £1,500 excess it was actually. Ooh. So even more,
just more. Not as much as it used to be.
I was trying to get a credit card then because I was like, look, I'm gonna have to get another life stage there, trying to get a credit card because to pay for this credit card doesn't arrive. So I'm like freaking out a bit. What the fuck am I gonna do? So I messaged the company and was like, the head office, and was like, what's the story? And they're like, well, if you just pay for the premium, you don't have to pay
credit card.
You don't need a credit card. It's like the damage doesn't apply. You could fucking smash that off a lead, load of traffic cones and gates and whatever you want.
They'd prefer the money up front.
They don't give a rat's.
No.
And do you know how much it cost? So it was £45 to rent it for the day. But it was just an extra £45 on top of that for them not to give a fuck what you did with the car while you had it.
Oh. You could still have it.
I could still have the car now. Could have driven it home. Got on the ferry. Fuck them.
That's mad, isn't it?
But the thing was, I had another fucking debacle, right? Because obviously I was trying to get the car back. So I was there for a wedding in Scotland. And on the last day, I went to collect the car at the venue, because I drove to the venue, all the girls were in heels and stuff. So I was like, look, I'll just drive, leave the car there, come back, be a good
man.
Be a good man. A provider with my rented wheels.
An inspiration.
But an inspiration. Walked 25 minutes down the coast, lovely hangover cure, I have to say, and picked up the vehicle, drove back, collected ourselves, headed to the airport, or headed to get food, then headed to the car rental drop off, and then to the airport. And obviously me trying to get the car back on time, I forgot to check in.
To the flight?
To the flight. So I was like, I better check in now.
That's you done.
I was 7 minutes over the 2 hour window.
Doesn't matter.
Right? 55 quid I had to pay at the check-in desk. And one goes,
sick.
The airline, the low budget airline, which I won't mention because I'm not naming it yet, but the lowest budget airline you can imagine in Europe. Yeah. I'm sure everyone knows which I'm talking about. I had to pay €55 just to get on the flight. And she goes, by the way, you haven't been allocated a seat because it's oversold by 11 people, and there's a very good chance you won't get back on that flight.
Great.
So I had to wait at the gate
to see
if people didn't turn up. And 11 aside, fucking football team didn't show up, so I could take one of their seats.
Okay.
And luckily, being low budget airline travel, they didn't show up, and I'm here today to record this podcast. Otherwise, I could be stuck in fucking Glasgow Airport.
Airport
in my rented car.
Well, it's good to have you here.
I don't know where that rant. I wasn't going down that rant.
It is annoying though.
It just fell out of me a bit. Do you know what I mean?
That is really annoying.
It's very fucking annoying.
You were telling me about the couple that you went to the wedding of, and a very lovely experience they have with poetry. But like, just before we get into that, like, a couple of things. One, thank you so much for everybody so far joining the read along. We've gone live with it, so I think most people have got the book. Say nothing unless you sign up. You're not going to know what it is. Ooh. But if you're interested in signing up, you can go onto the Patreon and you can join us. The next book goes live on the 1st of November. So listen, if you miss this one, join us next month. And then, I don't know if you have saw it now because we've spoken about it today. We've been nominated for an award. Ooh. Bloody hell.
And we didn't put ourselves into the race.
Well, no, we didn't. We were wonderfully nominated by a listener to be considered for the Irish Pod Awards. Yeah. So I think votes are being looked at like this week, and the events on the 6th of November.
6th of November.
So listen, thank you everybody who thinks this is worth even a listen, let alone an award.
He's actually give a shit.
You give a bollocks, and that's great.
That's unreal. Thanks for giving a bollocks. That's all we could ask in this poetic lifestyle.
That's cool. I just couldn't believe it. Like,
yeah, it's mad.
Delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. Considering like we've only been doing it for 6 months, sharing poems, and like it's been great. Like, we talk about this all the time. Like the emails that we get and the kind of communication of the community has been unbelievable. But like, to get that kind of recognition, to even be part of something like that, is fucking class. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's mad how things have snowballed so quickly.
Yeah.
Just two lads talking shy about poetry.
And there's a bit of a theme today, accidentally, because we've got there's a bit of love in today. Actually, there's an agony on at the end of the show about love, and as we were saying about the wedding, the couple you went to, there's a story there that's intertwined with poetry. So
there is,
beautiful.
So, the couple, I was living in Berlin in 2018, and I'd never written a poem before, and I met this fella called David McIntyre is his full name, and I was working with him, and he's a fella looks like me, long hair, beard, tattoos, and he's from Stevenson outside of Glasgow, and he was writing poetry, and I thought that was the maddest thing I've ever seen in my life, because I was like, you don't look like a poet, and he turned to me and was like, well, what does one look like? I was like, I don't know. But not fucking you. Turtlenecks and smoking pipes and intellectual thoughts and possibly, I don't know, so pair of bleeding dubs on him or something, I'm not sure. But he was like, no, he's like, give it a go. And I wrote my first poem after that about how much I hated wasps. It's called Fuck Wasps.
Fuck Wasps. Yeah, you've mentioned it.
I've mentioned that one.
You haven't shared it yet, but
I'll have to. I actually have it. I'll pull it out of the archives. We can post it.
Cool.
We'll post that my first poem, and But I started getting into it that way, and this was the same David Mack that who got married in Scotland, him being from outside of Glasgow, and him being a poet as well. But his new wife, Sophie, she's also a poet. And so I heard how they got together and how they
fiery couple, I'd say. Passionate, very romantic.
La passion.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like they were at an open mic and David wasn't even performing, and Sophie was actually she was on a Tinder date. Right?
God,
it's fucking mad. And so she comes in anyway, and she was a friend of his. So he's there, and he said he was in a fucking foul humour, and he's sitting there being mad moody, being mad poetic and moody. And she comes over. She's like, "Oh, like, what do you do?" As if like, "What do you perform? Do you play music?" And he just went, "I do this," and he just handed his poem book to her. She was like, "He's a bit of an arsehole. I'll read his book."
I kind of like it.
And then she was like, "But his poems are pretty good."
Long story short, if you want the birds, act like you're not interested.
Yeah, slap her with your poems. See what happens.
Oh God!
With the passions of fire. Anyway, so they became friends after that, and they started sharing work with each other and stuff like that. But they tied the knot there in Scotland, and part of their wedding ceremony, after their vows and stuff like that, it was amazing, right? So when they first started becoming friends, they were chatting away and became, whatever. He wrote a poem, and Sophie thought it was about her, and it wasn't, but she'd assumed it was, so she didn't want to bring it up to him and be like, it's that poem about me. So they were like, we'll set each other a challenge. Or she asked him a question. She was like, "Have you ever thought that a poem was written about you when it wasn't?" And he's like, "Oh, loads, yeah, of course." Like, so she's like, "Right, how about we write poems? We do a 10-day challenge, and we write poems about each other for 10 days. One poem a day about each other, and it'll be #poems for friends."
Ah, okay.
And I think it's between the 5th and 6th day they were already after kissing.
Yeah, well, that'll happen.
You know what I mean?
That will happen.
Passion is coming around. So it says, as the days went on, they got a little bit more and more romantic, a little bit more and more romantic. So anyway, yeah, but
wow.
So part of the ceremony was Dave read out the first poem he ever wrote about her, and she wrote out the 10th poem, which would be the last poem she ever wrote about him during that thing.
Do you have them?
I have them here.
Amazing.
So, which is deadly. Imagine fucking.
This is class.
Do you know what I mean?
I actually love that. Like, they weren't dating at this. It wasn't like you're my muse, I want to write your poems. It's like it was almost as if the poetry guided them to romance.
Yeah.
It's very cool and
fucking
interesting.
poetic as that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very poetic.
It is really fucking poetic, isn't it? Like, but as I said, it's like an accidental romance with the vehicle of poetry. I don't know if it was accidental.
Getting someone to write a poem about you can never be accidental.
Yeah. So
it's a good play.
It is a good play. Yeah. Maybe you should write a poem about me and see how
maybe I'll write a poem.
With my smoking jacket, my poem boots on.
Yeah.
So I'll start with Dave's, because Dave's is the first one, right? So this is and you can find them all on Instagram. We'll share their work, because they've actually both been published multiple times, and so they're accomplished poets. They're not just like closet poets. They are proper poets. So I just thought it was brilliant. But so this is Dave's poem. I don't look at you like a girl, but that doesn't mean I look at you like art or a temptation. It means I don't know how to look, blinded and bolstered by my own curiosity. I want to learn about your truth. Seeking honesty requires honesty. So here are all my sealed envelopes that could lead to catastrophe. I sense your intuition as it stares clearly straight through every illusion that I try to throw. Like the feeling of a wave crashing and flooding over my barriers, washing away my pessimism.
So he played it cool then.
So he played it cool. Yeah. So he fucking played it cool. Yeah.
That's the first one.
That's the first one. Tell you, she gave him a good wash. She gave him a good wash.
I can't believe that was the first one.
That's the first one. I don't want to fucking read his 10th one.
No,
I'm glad
I
it
don't
wasn't.
either.
He probably got too raunchy, I'd say, with the second one, you know. But that was his first one, yeah. So Sophie's poem was the 10th, which is a bit more refined because she's you know, she's brilliant and she's more civilized than us men, I suppose. But,
Okay.
so Sophie's poem. I would dance with the devil, play with wildfire. I would stumble a tightrope, stomp on thin ice. I would live for the highs, even more for the lows. Crash, run, snap, and fight. But maybe that's changing. I think it just might. Because for once I don't mind snuggling up to someone kind.
That was the poetry of Dave McIntyre and Sophie Gruber, now Sophie McIntyre, from the wedding that Leon went to in Scotland.
Cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's fucking
beautiful.
deadly.
That actually, you know, Shiv Hickey.
Yeah.
She's a playwright, producer, and poet. And I remember she wrote a poem a while ago that I saw, which was about loving someone out loud.
Right.
And I really like couples that are able to, like, not feel like they're too cool for school to share their love for each other. And I feel like sharing poetry about each other is probably the ceiling of not playing it cool.
Yeah, look, I've written a few poems about my missus, do you know, and
Well, if you look around here, I mean, behind me in the gaff, there's one of me and the one.
oh yeah, tis herself.
Tis herself, yeah.
Yeah, my missus hasn't written any fucking poems about me though.
No. I think it takes a while to kind of get used to being loving out loud. I feel like what do you think that? I think like it's a level of like not just maturity but also being really comfortable to not feel like you're being not cool or your mate's gonna go, he's a fucking he's being saft and all that.
Yeah.
But I think it's an important step to take in your maturity and your kind of openness for love. To be open and to love out loud.
But even like, it doesn't even necessarily be about love, but to express your emotions and stuff like that out loud in any social sense. Say, for instance, like the lads in the gym know I wrote poetry, and they're not like, he writes poetry. They're like, that's Leon, he writes poetry. You know?
Yeah.
Or like certain other groups or whatever it is, they know, they're like, oh yeah, that's what I write. Or like people like, they like your poetry or whatever it is, and you know, like poetry is an expression of yourself. So in a way, but like, imagine getting two poets together to write. You know, it's a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah.
It's a very rare thing to see, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it, bro.
Thank you very much.
I've been setting myself a task this week to write a poem every day. We both kindly been asked to submit some poems to a future collection published by Lewin Press, which is basically a collection of like selected Irish-based, island-based poets. So we've been asked to submit 5, and this morning I was like, right, I've got one more to go. I'm like, it's a Sunday as we record, right? So I was like, oh, you know, like I put my stuff down, I turn the radio off as I write. Just let your brain think of what you want to write today. I was like, you know, thinking about Sundays. I was like, oh, I really like Sundays. And then I was like, oh, I wonder what my favourite day is. And then I kind of started to think about the pros and cons of each day, and then it came to this poem that I'll read out to you now, called My Favourite Day. And it's about what it means to see your week and the positiveness of being romantic and kind of whimsical about the days ahead. So I've got this one for you. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, mate. This one's called it's called My Favourite Day by myself. It started with Monday, a new me, a fresh start, a chance to flood the mind and heart. Then to Saturday, wrecked from the week and thankful for time, clinging on to the first day I felt was mine. Thursday was next, half-arsed work and post office pints, feeling proud that you'll pay for staying out all night. Most recently, Sunday was my favourite. A hum of stout through the morning stroll, to read and to breathe, the day's only goal. And now, as I scan through my life and match the joy to the days, the answer? It doesn't matter. It's whenever I'm able to feel that question this way.
That was My Favourite Day by the great Ryan Duggins, aka Dugsy Malone.
Thank you, pal.
Very good.
Cheers, pal.
Lovely.
Wrote that in the sunshine in Merrion Square. Now, to be fair, I was thinking I was looking quite deadly with my notepad and pen, sitting on a bench.
Yeah, feeling very Oscar Wilde.
I was actually.
Were you touching
the
his
Oscar
foot?
Wilde statue was just in eyesight. Actually,
You were rubbing his foot while you were doing it, getting a bit of fucking inspiration.
No, I wasn't. I kind of feel like that statue isn't very flattering of old
He's
Oscar.
lying on a rock, smelling a rose.
But I think is the face is a bit.
Jowly.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
What about the one over by
Gouty.
Tom Kennedy's? Do you know the one
That's
on the
a
corner?
better one.
He's sitting on the bench.
Sitting on the bench. I think
Yeah.
the one sitting on the bench is better.
He hasn't got his shoes off with a rose,
Yeah,
looking
I
all
wouldn't be
jowly.
happy with that one if I was him.
He's fucking dead, so I don't think he minds.
No, don't think he minds either.
Do you know what I mean? Gone in the day. He couldn't put a Snapchat filter on that around, unfortunately.
Cut the neck.
Do you know what I mean? Make the look a bit sharp.
Jawline's a bit soft there.
Someone maybe stole his chin. You never know.
That's what I'm saying.
Who took Oscar Wilde's chin off him?
Where is it going? Last week we opened the show with a clip from Ethan Hawke talking about like poetry and the value of human created art. And mentioning that little clip was a poet called Allen Ginsberg. Is he someone you know much about?
I wouldn't. No.
I wouldn't really
No.
know much about him either, you know. I think he's in the Walt Whitman American kind of group of... Well, he's actually... So, a bit about him. He wrote in the 1950s, part of something called the Beat Generation. I've heard that phrase before. Yeah, exactly. Friends with Kerouac. And he would be challenging social norms and middle-class patriarchy and a bit more positivity around being a bit more liberal.
They're kind of rebelling against the nuclear family and stuff like that. You know, we had to kind of get the wife, get the house, get the kids, the wife.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
The
That's what the beatniks.
Yeah.
Not quite punk poets, but certainly challenging poets.
Yeah.
I think one of the most famous pieces from him is a poem called Howl, which if that's the one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think what I like about this show is sometimes things come up and you're like, I don't actually know anything about Allen Ginsberg. So I thought we'd share a piece from him.
Lovely. Yeah, and I think it's actually great, and that's what I do love about this podcast is like it has opened my periphery to so many poets I would not have a fucking clue about.
Yeah, no clue.
You know, so like we're kind of learning as well. It's not just like we're opening up to we're so knowledgeable and we know all these poets. I haven't a fucking clue who half these poets are, but I love that afterwards because then I go, this is brilliant, and then I'll read more of their work. You know, it's exciting because you can't just read the same poets over and over again. It's good to get out there and read different ones. So I'm actually reading this for the first time. So I'm going in blind.
Fair.
And luckily I'm going in blind because the name of this poem is called When the Light Appears.
How lucky.
How lucky. I'll have something to light the way, to lead the way.
Yeah.
So Allen Ginsberg.
Let the light...
When the Light Appears.
Allen Ginsberg, When the Light Appears.
Allen Ginsberg. When the Light Appears. He's dead, doesn't matter anyway. Is he? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. You'll bare your bones. You'll grow. You'll pray. You'll only know. When the light appears, boy, when the light appears. You'll sing and you'll love. You'll praise blue heavens above. When the light appears, boy, when the light appears. You'll whimper and you'll cry. You'll get yourself sick and sigh. You'll sleep and you'll dream. You'll only know what you mean when the light appears, boy, when the light appears. You'll come and you'll go. You'll wander to and fro. You'll go home in despair. You'll wonder why you'd care. You'll stammer and you'll lie. You'll ask everybody why, you'll cough and you'll pout, you'll kick your toe with gout, you'll jump, you'll shout, you'll knock your friends about, you'll bawl and you'll deny and announce your eyes are dry, you'll roll and you'll rock, you'll show your big hard cock. You'll love and you'll grieve, and one day you'll come believe as you whistle and you smile the Lord made you worthwhile. You'll preach and you'll glide on the pulpit in your pride, sneak and slide across the stage like a river in high tide. You'll come fast or come on slow, just the same you'll never know when the light appears, boy, when the light appears.
That was When the Light Appears by beat poet Allen Ginsberg.
That
the cock line.
That nearly killed me. That's the first time I ever read that poem.
You fuck's sake.
Oh.
But there's no setup.
It just comes out of nowhere.
It's literally a dick pic. It's an unsolicited dick pic. Out the blue.
It's just hidden in that poem. And I was like, this poem's really good. Like, as I was reading it, and it's just... well, you know Fight Club?
Yeah.
You know Fight Club, and it's like Brad Pitt's character is talking about when he worked in the theatre, and he used to mess with the roll of the film, and he used to put like the cock randomly, and then at the end of Fight Club there's just a random snap image of a cock and it just goes away. That's what that was. Like, it was fucking...
When the light appears, boy, when the light appears.
I wasn't right for a couple of minutes after reading that. That's so funny.
A giggle. But it is profound as well. Like, it's... again, we're not old, but we've got enough life experience to know the moments in our life that we weren't sure what was going on and when the kind of lightness would fix our days. But when you look back and the kind of depths of despair that you're in, it's like, when is it gonna, when are things gonna change? Like, they always do change. You'll understand why you had to go through the shit stuff.
Yeah, I think like you have enough experience now to understand there's highs and lows. And you'll get through it, you know. And it is a fabulous poem. Obviously, I was laughing at the start there, but like the rhythm in that poem, and it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it's like he's going back to, he likes the repetition of when the light appears, by when the light appears. Like, it's, you know, it's like that's like an anchor in like a sea, or like it's like a flotation device. It's like when the light appears, when the light appears. It's almost like a mantra. Yeah. When it appears, it'll click, and you'll go, oh yeah, it's back again. It's like, as I said, to mirror back to the terrible time I had in Benidorm, and the day after when you're dying hungover and you think, I'm never going to be normal again. When the light appears, it'll appear after you've cleaned the entire gaff top to bottom out of anxiety. You'll be grand and you'll be normal again. I should have read that poem back then.
Now I'm just thinking, like, whenever I am actually hungover, I do think it's quite funny. Even when you're like so sick and you just can't move and you're vomiting, like, there's something inside you going like, this will end, and it is funny that you have to do this. Yeah, I think it's funny.
Just think, like, why would I ever go back drinking again? Why would I ever have those delicious creamy pints? Why would they? I'll never go back to having those delicious creamy pints. I'll never have a delicious creamy pint again. Well, since that moment when it was like a scene in Trainspotting, I have had several pints.
I'd say you've had plenty.
I've been lured back by the pint piper.
The crack will get you. I've got a poem for you, right? So, do you remember last week we talked about we shared Anna Doran's poem about postnatal depression, and we got so many messages about that. So thanks for Anna letting us share the poem. But before we kind of recorded the show, we asked for other people to help us out, and we luckily got so many lovely correspondence and messages and great poems. And I wanted to share this one since we received it from a poet called Mena Siwan. She sent us a poem, and it's short enough, but it's beautiful actually. I actually shared on the Instagram last week a poem from Wendy Cope called The Orange, which ends with the line like, I'm glad I exist. And this has the same flow of that poem, but also a kind of positivity. So I'm really excited for you to hear this one, pal. This is a poem from Mena Siwan, and it's called For You. I am proud as I watch the geese laugh by embroidering the sky in their V formation, celebrating in the dawn's first light that you chose to stay. I am proud that you let the black beast in, gave him a meal and made him your friend, opening your heart to acceptance. Now he sleeps peacefully at your feet. I am proud as the sun rises slowly, waking you from a dream-filled sleep. You saw the darkest and did not leave before the inevitable glory of day.
That was For You by Mena Siwan.
Not too dissimilar to the poem that we shared from Allen Ginsberg.
Very similar, but lines like fucking geese embroidering the sky. That, as I said, that's a line where you literally have permission to smell your own farts and enjoy it. That's incredible.
Yeah,
She deserves that fart. She deserves to smell it. That was
take a bite out of yourself, Minna, because you are chocolate.
Fucking bleeding not even Bourneville, I was going to say Bourneville. Fucking Belgian chocolate.
Yes.
Good quality Belgian chocolate.
Give yourself a lick, love, because you are made of candy. That was incredible.
That's amazing. Like, some of the... Jesus Christ, the lines. The visual art in that is incredible. It's just...
when you look up and you rarely ever see this, but when you see the V shape
Yeah.
of the birds, right? Like, I don't know why, but you will stare at it and feel almost romantic about it. But there's no, like, I don't know why you do.
Yeah.
But whenever you see that in the sky, it's quite like, oh my god,
It's beautiful.
yeah, beautiful. I'm not sure why it is, but it is.
But the... just like embroidering the sky. It's so... Fucking love poetry sometimes.
Don't you just?
Fucking love poetry
I
sometimes.
fucking love poetry as well.
Well done. Thank you so much for sending that in. That's incredible.
Well, the person that we're going to be talking about now, who had sent us the agony aunt query, I think is in need of some poetry as well.
Really.
So we had an agony aunt in. We said that love was embroidered into this show.
Stitched.
Stitched into it. So I'll show you this one. A common concern. My bird and I split up a few weeks ago, and we have a lot of the same friends. So things are a bit awkward, as you can imagine. What's the best way of getting by this? We ended amicably, but we also need to give each other space. So,
There's only one person in the universe qualified to answer that question.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I think so. I think if you stand on top of your roof and you get a big searchlight and you shine out into the universe,
Yeah.
the poetry symbol, you'll hear a rumble in the distance over the mountains.
Yeah.
Like a thundercloud passing down the valleys,
Yeah.
across the meadows, in her Macintosh jacket,
Yeah.
on a white horse. It is the one and only Agony Aunt.
Agony aunt.
Yeah. I don't know how you guessed that, but yeah. She'll come on the fifth day.
We've lit the beacons and she's turned up.
She did. Yeah, by a Martello Tower. I went to the beach and I lit my fire and I heard a knock on the door afterwards and she was there on her white horse. I think she borrowed Shadowfax. Showed me the meaning of haste. She did.
Scroll in hand.
She did with a scroll. It was parchment. It was weathered
yeah.
through the salty spray by the Martello Tower.
Good, because we need it.
On her salty sprayed parchment was a poem
Thank fuck.
to suit this person's query. And this poem, aptly called The Split.
The Split by the Agony Aunt.
It's been a few weeks now since she's gone. Like every good beginning came the end of our song. It wasn't particularly awful. We just needed some space, but the time had finally come for the end of our race. As far as things go, though, I think we'll be okay. We've all the same mates and we're not sure how to play this. Do we split them up? Or carry on like normal? But our own recent ceasing makes things feel quite abnormal. But things are still fresh. As I said, it's been only a few weeks. I think time will tell as we iron out the creases of our new situation, our new obligation to remain civil. But a plan we shall make, if we need a clean break. And on Tuesdays she can have Paul while I'm in the park with Jake, and on Fridays she's with Joan, and I'll try not to moan, but I'm stuck here with Claire, who just stares into her phone. Realistic logistics. Boundaries that need to be laid. Because we want to remain friends after all the memories we made.
That was The Splits by the Agony Aunts. Yeah, I don't want Claire.
No. We all have a Claire, don't we?
Fucking Claire.
And you're like, will you just stop?
There's nothing philosophical you can even say to this woman to get her off the phone.
Like a bleeding bomb could go off and she'd be going live tweeting then. She'd be live tweeting about it.
Yeah,
on her phone. You're like, come on, get off the fucking phone. Like, have a conversation with me. There's always that kind of person, you know, like mates that you're like, and you know they haven't said anything. Like, what I've gotten into the habit now, if I'm chatting to somebody and they're on their phone and I know they'll listen, I just stop talking.
And you just wait.
And I wait. I just sit there in silence. And then like,
oh, sorry.
And they kind of snap out of it. But if I keep talking, I'm like, or I'd be talking and I'm like, yeah, so we're doing it, and you're not listening to that, and I say, and then I'd stop. And they'd just be like, it'd take a few seconds for them to catch up to it. But yeah.
Jeez, some crack you.
I'm calling people out on their fucking digital nonsense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Things need to be done.
That is a problem that faces a lot of us.
Yeah.
And it's faced me in a former life, and I just wonder sometimes, not to say the answer is to cut friends off. That's not what I'm saying.
Ah, no, of course not.
But the echo chamber of your kind of history and your story can lock you like a prison would. So sometimes you have to, a bit like you said last week with the story of Tom Hardy talking to Charles Bronson, who was like, you have to cut a bit of yourself
prune
off.
A bit of yourself.
Sometimes people are that thing that you're gonna lose for you to get a chance to talk about something else. Like, civility is not gonna get anyone anywhere. Being friendly, of course, but like being civil, yeah, whatever. Okay, cool. Be civil anyway. But a new character sometimes requires new people.
It's true. I think, like, even from a young age, I've always had several groups of friends for different things.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have them because it's like, you know, you can be yourself in a different way with different people. And it's friends that I've had since I'm 4. And we've grown up together. But I'd only be a certain kind of... Because they wouldn't be like me in totality, you know?
Yeah.
So you'd only be a certain kind of way towards it. You'd probably be... do you ever, like, when you're talking to people that are really, really old mates, you kind of almost revert a little bit back to your old self a bit?
Yeah, for sure you do.
A little bit, you know? And then you're like... And as you get older, you're like...
It's not me.
You know, that wouldn't be like the way I am now. But you kind of catch yourself. It becomes more apparent as you get older, I suppose. But I've always had a few little kind of friend groups. But then obviously, like we say, it's good with the poetry side is that it wouldn't be my poetry friends. They're just me mates that also do poetry now, which is great to have. Yeah. You know, and we do other things. We all go to the pub and we all go on other poetical things. Perhaps. I don't know. What else do we fucking do? You go for walks brunches.
And chat and pints.
Pints and stuff.
So this person, I hope you find your way, but it might include a couple of new mates.
But it takes time. That's another message.
Sure, it takes time.
The Agony Aunt, she said in the subtext of her poem.
Yes.
You know, she delivered a subtext as well because she took the week off beforehand. So
I'm glad that she said yes. To be honest, I thought she'd be a bit angry that we.
I know she liked a little reprieve.
Yeah, sometimes you need a break.
She could roll up her wizard sleeves then, and she could get back into the next. Nice. Never mind. Moving on anyway.
Well, the next episode we're going to do is going to be a Halloween special. So a couple of spooky poems coming your way next week. Hopefully we see a few of you on the read along. Again, sign up to our Patreon for some more information about that. Exclusive. An episode of the podcast is going to get released to those subscribers on the 1st of November.
Exclusive, just to let you know.
Exclusive. Just talking about the book that we've chosen. So yeah, join us there. Leon, thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure, never the chore, Ryan, baby.
I'll see you for Halloween.
We better dust off our wizard sleeves for Halloween, I suppose, ourselves.
You delight me yourself for saying wizard sleeve.
I didn't even realise I meant to say that. I just fucking fell out of my mouth and then I started laughing after.
Go on anyway.
Toodaloo.